This is an alleged image of a real-life shape-shifting demon caught on tape in the mountains in Taiwan during a family trip. She's called the Little Girl in Red, and till this day, she is one of Taiwan's most authentic urban legends. From the day this entity was caught on tape, the family started having a string of bad luck, and one member even passed away. But what's strange is that no one who went on that hiking trip that day remembered seeing this little girl in red, and also, why does she look so old? That's weird, bro. But that's not the end of the story, because years later, another woman who was lost in the mountains claimed to have encountered this same little girl in red, and she claimed that this girl spoke to her for hours as she was awaiting rescue. So what did the girl in red tell the old woman? Who is this little girl? Is it simply a lost child or something completely beyond our understanding? Tonight, we're diving into the curious case of Taiwan's most infamous urban legend, the Little Girl in Red. Before we get back into tonight's mystery, I'd like to thank our longtime partner, ExpressVPN, for sponsoring tonight's video. Every time you go online, be it watching videos or googling weird mysteries at 3 AM, someone could be watching too. Your data, your location, and your habits. Your digital footprint can be more exposed than you think. And that's why I personally use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN protects your online privacy by encrypting and rerouting your data through their secured servers, so hackers, trackers, and even your internet service provider cannot see what you're doing. And unlike most VPNs, ExpressVPN is actually fast. My whole team and myself have been using it for the past year, and there's honestly zero lag. They also use something called trusted server technology, which means it's physically impossible for their servers to store logs of your activity, no records and no history, and thus nothing to leak. In 2025, ExpressVPN released a whole new tiered pricing, so you can get protected for even less cost right now. But honestly, even the basic plan still lets you connect to up to 10 devices at once, with the highest tier at 14 devices. So I would say it's still a pretty good deal. If you care about online privacy, after tonight's story, you should probably scan the QR code on screen right here, click the link in the description, or go to expressvpn.com/sneakysushi with 2 eyes to find out how you can get up to 4 extra months for free. Thank you, ExpressVPN, for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to our mystery of the little girl in red. On the 1st of March 1998, a family in Taiwan decided to go for a weekend hike on the Dakeng hiking trail in Taichung, Taiwan. But after that day, their lives were never the same again. The mood was light at first, everyone was having a good time. And as you can see from this video that was captured on a V8 camcorder by the family, it seemed like a regular hiking trip. Now take note, everything that you're seeing now is real. None of the footage is doctored. The camera captured the group chatting, adults enjoying the scenery, and around noon, the camera intermittently captured everyone walking in a single file down the trail. In that moment, nobody felt or saw anything strange as they were walking. I mean, why would they? As weeks went by, the tape from that day was left unwatched and tucked away on a shelf. But then, all of a sudden, tragedy struck. Not long after the trip, one of the family member, a middle-aged man, dies suddenly. Some sources claim it was a heart attack, but there was no obvious cause or warning. The grieving family decided to finally watch the forgotten tape to relive their memory of their recently deceased family member. And it is here that this truly bizarre legend starts to unfold. They loaded the tape in and pressed play. They saw happy faces, lush greenery, and even the deceased relative joking around on camera. But then, something strange caught their eye. In a wide shot of everyone ascending the trail, a figure appears behind the last person, following directly behind the family. The figure looks to be that of a child, around 6 to 7 years old, and dressed in a red outfit. But her posture and demeanor feel off. I mean, she clearly stands out from the group, not only because of her outfit, but everyone else is seen trotting along happily, waving to the camera, but this little girl just trails behind them wearing an unpleasant expression. why? Her eyes are also obscured by dark shadows, giving the impression of hollow sockets staring out blankly. Some say that despite her small stature, her face appears to be old, sparking discussions that it could be an old granny instead. But the strangest part was, no one in the hiking party that day ever remembered seeing a child dressed in red. And to me, it kind of looks like a granny as well. But I mean, to be honest, other than the red outfit and the hollow eyes, which could be due to the poor camera quality, I mean, after all, it's recorded on a V8 camcorder. That's why her eyes could be, you know, so dark and appear to be hollow. But other than that, she looks to be a normal person, to me at least. Also, one thing I want to point out is that you can clearly see a shadow under her feet. So her body and I guess her flesh is real, in a sense, real enough to cast shadows. Imagine if this girl is actually real and she's just going down the mountain to, you know, get a snack, but she ends up being Taiwan's most mysterious urban legend for 20 years. But this wasn't the end of the strangeness, because some family members claim that the video showed a rather ominous detail pertaining to the deceased family member. At one point, the recently deceased member turns to smile at the camera, and for a split second, his grin appears to reveal demonic fangs, like a wild beast's tooth. They also claim that his face momentarily warps into a ghostly expression with a sinister grin, blackened teeth, and hollow eyes. It's almost like a foreboding premonition of the ill fate that would befall this individual. Upon seeing these strange anomalies, the family started to put the pieces together. A little red girl following behind them, distorted faces of a family member, and that member suddenly dying of an unknown cause. They concluded that he was cursed by this little girl in red. The family even took this footage to a Taoist priest for some answers, and that priest said that a strange and very dark energy was present in the tape. Naturally, the family started to panic and was desperate for any answers that they could find. Could a demonic entity really be responsible for the death of their beloved relative? So they turned to the help of professional ghost hunters. They should have called me. I would help. They submitted the camcorder tape to a popular paranormal TV program called Mysteries of Asia. Just kidding. Hoping that someone could tell them what on earth was lurking in their home video. But little did they know, they were about to set off a national phenomenon, unmasking even darker things brewing inside the tape. By this time, Taiwanese TV was saturated with late-night paranormal shows. People loved watching spooky clips and haunting phenomena on TV. One such show was 神出鬼没, or Ghosts and Spirits, which aired on Channel 27 of GTV. And in the summer of 1998, they would receive one very peculiar video clip that would leave even the most skeptical viewer in doubt. The TV program received a clip of a strange little girl in red following a family during a hiking trip. And the moment they aired this clip, it immediately sparked a nationwide debate. Everyone was talking about this eerie clip. Many were saying that finally we have actual video evidence of an evil entity. Who is this little girl who caused the death of a beloved family member? Why was she following them? The entire country of Taiwan wanted answers to these burning questions. So, the TV crew actually investigated this further. They even went down to the area where the little girl in red was spotted. But the TV crew would soon regret this decision because very weird things would start happening to them as well. A story started to circulate that one video editor for the program started getting haunted by this little girl in red. While he was editing this particular episode, the little girl would appear in certain scenes that he was sure that no little girl dressed in red was supposed to be there. I mean, he's the editor, he should know. But when he looked back at the footage, the little girl would disappear. It was as though the girl was following him through the edit, or maybe warning him. He was so afraid that he rushed home that very night. But later that same night, while he was sleeping, he was awakened by a loud bang in his room. He opened his eyes to see the little girl in red sitting on his desk, staring at him through her dark, hollow eyes. Goddamn, I would shit my pants if I saw that. As the story grew more widespread, the crew doubled down on their investigation. They even interviewed local residents in the area and even visited local schools to search for the exact girl depicted in the footage. But they couldn't find anyone. However, there was a little boy who did manage to identify the girl. He claimed to have seen her dressed in the same red outfit. He said one day on the mountain, he was following behind her when she suddenly disappeared. There's also another story that the TV crew actually invited a Taoist priest to perform a ritual at the site. Crew members claimed that as soon as the priest stepped into the bamboo grove, the clear weather turned dark and furious winds caused the trees to sway violently, as if some invisible force was warning them to keep out. According to the story, the Taoist master managed to seal the spirit in an egg sealed with talismans. He later cracked the egg open and released it into a river, sending it away from the mountain. That's kinda irresponsible in my opinion. What if someone's swimming in the river and then that person, is having so much fun and he just accidentally gulps down the evil spirit? He's gonna get possessed, man. That's so irresponsible. Taoist priest, naughty priest. Honestly, I would have just kept the egg and maybe sell it on eBay as a haunted egg. That's gonna fetch a hefty price tag. It was said that when the egg was cracked open, the yolk had turned jet black, which is a sign of extreme dark energy. And this sign of dark energy kinda makes sense because a lot of the local spiritual experts actually chimed in and claimed that the little girl in red is actually an evil entity known as Mo Shen Zi, a mischievous mountain demon known in local legends to lead hikers astray and prey on the unwary. These entities often disguise themselves as children or other innocent people to lure people deeper into the jungle. Survivors of the Mo Shen Zi often claim that these entities would lure them deep into the forest by using food or water. But the food they were holding always turned out to be an illusion. In reality, they were eating dirt, insects, and tree bark, all made to appear ostensibly delicious by the mountain demon. Quite similar to the story of Acap in my video about Malaysia's hidden elves, the Orang Bunyan, where a hiker was supposedly led astray by these hidden elves. In that case, spiritual masters even found empty snail shells in the area, suggesting that Acap, the missing hiker, was tricked into eating snails. Another darker theory that some viewers claim is that the girl in red is a vengeful ghost seeking a substitute. In Chinese superstition, a person who died tragically might try to find a replacement by causing another's death. The fact that a healthy man on that hike died soon after is, to believers, no coincidence. They suspect that the little girl chose him as her substitute, leading to his mysterious death. In Chinese folklore, red is the color of vengeance as well. If someone dies wearing red, they return as a furious ghost, and this little girl in red seems to embody an angry spirit wandering around until she can claim a life. But this is not the only story of Taiwan's little girl in red, because years later, another story would revive this legend into the public consensus. This time, however, it was an old lady who claimed that she was lured by a little girl into the forest, and she even had a conversation with her. On the 28th of June 2014, Grandma Peng went on a 3-day, 2-night tour of the Lin Tian Shan Forestry Culture Park in Hualien County, Taiwan. However, at around 4 p.m, she went to the park's toilet, after which she mysteriously vanished. A police report was quickly made, and more than 500 people, including firefighters, rescue dogs, police officers, and even Grandma Peng's grandchildren, took part in the search and rescue operation. For 4 full days, the large search party combed the entire vicinity of the park, but they couldn't find Grandma Peng. And remember, she was in her 80s, so this was a very big deal. To go missing in a forest at that age for that long is like a death sentence. Then, on the 5th day, out of desperation, Grandma Peng's son visited the local earth god temple, or Tu Di Gong, to seek divine intervention. The son claimed that while praying, he heard a voice speaking to him, and it said, "You will find the person you are looking for today. And lo and behold, at 10:30 a.m. that very day, the rescue team actually found Grandma Peng. She was found trapped under a large boulder by a river 3 kilometers from the mountain. Miraculously, she was conscious when they found her. But the search and rescue team had one burning question. How did a woman her age manage to end up there? The location where Grandma Peng was found was extremely difficult to reach, and it required wading through fast currents of water. A woman of her age would have found it impossible to do so. So everyone found it unbelievable that she not only managed to survive for 5 days without food, but also to end up where she was found. Grandma Peng was eventually brought to the hospital for treatment, and that's when she told a truly bizarre story. When asked how she ended up by the river, Grandma Peng said that after coming out of the toilet, she met a little girl in red, holding a red umbrella. This little girl was the one who led her away deep into the forest, where she was eventually found. Later on, police reviewed the nearby surveillance footage and discovered that after using the restroom, Grandma Peng walked out through a side gate, seemingly looking for something, as you can see from the footage here. She also appeared in a daze, but as you can see from the footage, no little girl in red was ever seen. So who is this girl that Grandma Peng was talking about and following? In the footage, Grandma Peng was then seen quickly walking towards the mountain road. When her family saw this part of the footage, they were astonished because Grandma Peng had difficulty walking and needed assistance to simply climb the stairs. However, in the footage, she is seen walking briskly, almost as if possessed by something. Her daughter-in-law was reported to have said, "This isn't like my mother at all." When Grandma Peng was asked how she was able to survive 5 days in the mountain forest alone, she said that when she was thirsty, she just drank the river water. The little girl in red also kept her company for 4 days, helping her to stay awake. But on the 5th day, the little girl disappeared, and Grandma Peng instead met an elderly couple who chatted with her and told her jokes. Now you must be wondering, Sushii, who is this elderly couple? Well, believers claim that Grandma Peng was originally taken away by a mountain demon, the little girl in red. But because her son sought help from the earth god Tutikong on the 5th day, the earth god and goddess came to Grandma Peng's rescue in the form of an elderly couple. So the little girl in red had no choice but to release Grandma Peng, and that's when she was eventually found. Now, this 2014 case was widely reported, and immediately people linked it to the Da Keng hiking group incident 16 years prior. I mean, here we have an old woman insisting that a girl in red had abducted her. The resemblance is uncanny. Folk religion experts also point out the parallels between the two cases. They claim that victims of mountain spirits are often the elderly, those with a declining young energy. And indeed, the original 1998 Da Keng hiking tale involved an older man who unfortunately died, and this 2014 incident involved an old woman, which is Grandma Peng. The red umbrella detail, however, is rather new, but in Chinese symbolism, a red umbrella itself is ghostly. There's a saying to never pick up a red umbrella left on the ground because it might just belong to something not of our realm. Wait, that's a life hack right there. Buy a red umbrella and it will never get stolen. But for believers, these stories are proof that something lurks out there in the wild, luring away the unwary. For skeptics, however, they claim that these stories are simply a case of pareidolia, our minds finding patterns in mundane things, like a grainy footage of a child on a camcorder, or simply an elderly person's hallucination under stress. The little girl in red captured in the 1998 footage may very well just be a regular kid going on a hike. I mean, who knows? Maybe the group simply didn't remember seeing her. And yeah, perhaps due to exhaustion, Grandma Peng merely imagined a little girl in red talking to her. As with most urban legends and folktales, it's almost impossible to verify all the facts and sift out the truth due to multiple retellings over decades. But at the very least, I think these tales serve as a warning that the forest remains a very dangerous place, something one should treat with utmost respect before entering. What would I do if I saw a little girl in red while hiking? I might actually just pop by and say hi, like, hi girl, you okay or not? Are you lost? Are you okay? I probably won't take anything from her to eat though, because I don't want to end up eating dog shit. But anyway, thank you so much for watching tonight's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider subscribing and liking this video. It really helps the channel out. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace. Now, time to go buy a red umbrella.